Hello and welcome back. Today, this time, we are going to do the ranking of extremes. Last time, we ranked Savage. This time, I have a better mic. Maybe. Who knows? This is what we're going to do. There's 8 different extreme trials, so this will be a little bit faster. And if you're wondering, yes, Rathalos counts. So yes, we are going to count Rathalos. So, today, that is what we're going to do. There isn't as much rules today because, we've got the ground rules already set up. This is extreme. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to compare to Savage, we're not going to compare to Ultimate, we're not going to compare to Heavensward. This is Stormblood. Well, actually, we might make some comparisons to Heavensward, actually, I'm not going to lie. And we're going to try and look at this as if they were new, even if some of the videos don't show that they're new. Alright, that's the intro for this. Let's just get in with number 8. Number 8 is, unfortunately, some people like this one, Lakshmi. I don't like Lakshmi. She is for starters, her opener is really bad. Like, I hate the stupid 2 snakes, and then you don't even get aggro on the boss, and it just feels so bad to play. You got to make sure you don't use your buffs, but then they take forever to die half the time. So, and this applies to both extreme and normal. This just, I hate it. I don't know why this stupid snake part at the start is there. Just get it out, please. The rest of the fight, actually, it was our first time using the duty action thing. It's called Vril. It's literally just you press it and it does what it needs to do. But for the first whatever, you don't even have to worry about it because she'll just do her attacks. You got the tank buster, stack, raid wides, those simple things what every fight has. Then you have these wee cross arrow things, which I don't like because, well, it's not that I don't like them, it's that I don't like playing it with people because they always think that you have to, at all costs, avoid any of them, even though you can get hit by one if you don't even have a cross. So that really annoyed me because people were moving all the time. I was like, please stop. Okay. She uses this thing later in the fight called Chanchala, or as people back then used to call it Chimichanga or whatever. I'm not American, so I have no idea what that is. That basically empowers all her attacks, and some attacks grant a different effect. So, as a tank, you will have to use Vril for every tank buster. As the off tank, who has to have second aggro at pretty much all times, you will have to use Vril for your wee marker attack that cleaves half the arena or basically cleaves where you're facing, which is usually kind of next to the tank but not on the tank, so it just hits nobody. She'll do a knockback, which will actually knock you off the arena. However, there's something I never tested. I don't know if you arm's length without Vril, if it will still knock you back, but I'm going to guess it will. I've never tried that. But you have to Vril it so you don't get knocked off the edge. And then there's the opposite, with a suck in, and she has poison underneath her. I'm going to call it poison, but it's a bleed. So you just go away and Vril. It's not terribly complicated or anything, and she just repeats that for the entire fight. Well, there is that part where they confuse after, well, we'll get to there later. Basically, get to about 50%, there'll be an ad phase where there's these 4 snakes, and one snake gets a Vril power on her for like 8 seconds. And then when that 8 seconds runs out, it transfers to another snake. So what you're supposed to do here is get them low so that you can kill one snake when it has the Vril power on it, and then kill another, and then kill another. You have to do it 3 times so everyone in the party gets a Vril for the upcoming ultimate attack. Problem is a lot of people forget to stop getting their pets to attack some of the snakes, and it messes up quite a lot with people in there. But I like the idea of it. It is pretty good. There's some targety thing with a blast that's going on. You just put that away from the party. It's nothing interesting. And then after the ultimate, there is one mechanic I'm going to talk about. This is the last one. And everybody gets confused here. And what is cool about this is, well, actually it's not really that cool. I just think it's really weird that the people with the books hit harder than the people with the swords, the axes, the spears, the whatever. Fucking books hit the hardest. Auto attack wise, I don't get it. You're supposed to roll there so the confused time is shorter, but I think nowadays you can survive without it. If we're going to compare to Heaven's Word, we're going to have to compare this to Bismarck, and I don't plan on making a video for Heaven's Word Trials since I didn't start in Heaven's Word. Well, I started in 3.4, so you know I don't have full words on everything there. But I do know most of the fights at a level that I can discuss them a little bit when comparing to these fights here. So Lakshmi and Bismarck. It's not even a competition. Lakshmi is way better than Bismarck. Bismarck doesn't even deserve to be an extreme because it's that similar to normal. So yeah, Lakshmi, you won something but you lost everything else. Oh, and the mount. The mount is, it's alright I suppose. It's probably my least favourite dog, but yeah, it's alright. And the music is, well, it's annoying because I like the instruments but I don't like the singing. So I'm going to say it's alright. Good job, music guy, Soaking. We already know you're good at music, so that's not even a competition. Alright. We're going to move on to number 7 next, so make sure you're buckled up for that one. Goodbye. Alright, so this one here is Rathalos, as I mentioned earlier. This is also being counted in my countdown. Even though it's not as normal as the rest, it's kind of new and it's unique. It's a 4-man extreme trial, the only one of its kind as of the making of this video, and the only one we know that will exist so far, although they may add more. And I guess you could say that Palace of the Dead and Heaven on High are kind of extreme, maybe? I don't know, but you get the point. Unfortunately, I don't play Monster Hunter World, or any Monster Hunter. I think I played like the demo of one of the DS games, Monster Hunter 4, but I don't know much about it, so I'm going in here with no expectations of what a Rathalos might fight like, although I've heard that this plays like a Rathalos, at least in terms of what attacks he uses and how to dodge them. But because I've not played Monster Hunter World, unfortunately I actually really don't like this fight. I think it's annoying and I can't really tell the cause, and this might just be me, and it pisses me off when you get fucking hit and you get stunned for like 2 seconds and then you get stunned for so long that the next attack that comes will hit you straight away anyway, but that only really happens in Final Phase. So I'm not really a fan of the Rathalos fight. The music is cool, but that's just from Monster Hunter World, so I mean Socken didn't even make it himself unless he works on Monster Hunter, which I don't think he does. But yeah, I can't really say much about this fight. I think it's cool how you can't heal in the last phase and you have to use the potions, and like you get 3 deaths from anyone and then it's a wipe. Because the cats cart you away or something. The thing about this fight is, because it's a 4-man extreme, and because you don't need to heal much in the last phase, you can go in this with 3 tanks and 1 healer, and do just as good as having 1 tank, 2 DPS and 1 healer, or 3 DPS and a healer, because the tanks have the added bonus of extra health, and they also have amazing burst, and by they I mean warrior. And all that matters in the Rathalos fight is burst. It doesn't matter about anything else because you're not even doing damage to him half the time. You're just waiting until he gets knocked on the floor so you can destroy his tail, or knocked on the floor so you can just have a small burst window to defeat him. So you bring a warrior, you go ham with them fell cleaves, you bring 3 warriors, you go ham on 3 fell cleaves, you bring a healer for the burn as sooner. If you bring a paladin or a dark knight, mainly a paladin, you can actually solo stack all the stacks that you get, or at least one of them. You can Herald Ground them, You can actually home gang them as well and Living Dead, but I don't think that that is as safe. So I would recommend it better with a paladin. Not that stacking is hard. See, this trial and the next trial, I have a problem with. And the problem is, and I know I'm speaking from a raiding perspective because I've been raiding since the tier that I started with, which was Creator, but I don't think any trial should be clearable on your first or second pull blind. As you can see on this video, I don't know if we'll last this till the clear because I don't want to pad out the runtime. We actually cleared this fight in one pull, which is literally unheard of for me in like any fight ever aside from a normal fight, and even most normal fights I wipe on, and those are like Shinryu we wiped on, Tsukiyomi we wiped on normal, but then Raffles comes along, extreme, first pull, win, all because we went in 3 tanks and 1 healer. And you can say, oh well, somebody must have told you about the 3 tanks and 1 healer in. You know what, you're not wrong, but they didn't tell us about any of the mechanics or anything. We kind of just went in with 3 tanks, 1 healer and beat it on the first pull. And the worst thing is that I was lagging like mad, that at that day I had to leave my static that I ran that trial with, and we still managed to beat it with like a 90% win rate. And I think that's a bit too easy for a trial. And the next trial is kind of suffers the same, except I wasn't lagging, so that's probably why. And we were all 8 of us were just raiders, so you know, and it's well, I don't want to spoil anymore, but you'll see. But it's a fun trial, I suppose, the first time, but I'm not really a fan of it. Honestly, I was tempted to put it below Lakshmi, but I want to give it the benefit of being a 4-man trial and actually trying something different. So you could basically say this is joint 8th, but slightly better just because of the risk it took. I hear that Monster Hunter World actually got a better deal with their collaboration with the Behemoths, but you'll have to ask my brother for that one, or someone else who actually plays that. I don't know. Anyway, on to number 6, which you might already guess considering how easy I typed it to be, although there's a couple of options it could have been. Let's go to number 6. Yep, that's right, this one is Seiryu. This fight, I don't know what to think about this fight. Well, I do because I'm about to tell you, but sometimes I find it fun, and other times I find it annoying. Most of the time the latter, but sometimes I find it fun. So, this fight is the fight I was talking about where I said I cleared it on my second pull, and as you see it's clear. All these fights that are clear fights are on the channel that you can see later, except from Susanoo and Lakshmi and Shinryu, because I didn't record those live, and the recordings I do have are current and not when I cleared them, so they're not as worthy of seeing. Anyway, this fight is was the last trial of the entire game of Stormblood, so I had kind of big shoes to fill because we had all the other trials that were better than it existed, and not every time do you have to beat a trial or beat your best. But it was really disappointing because the other 2 ones are better than this one, so, and I mean quite a bit better. This one just kind of falls flat on, I think the music is worse, and trust me, I'm the one person in the world who doesn't like singing, and I think the music without singing is worse than the music's with singing. So you know, that's a little bit of a problem. I mean, it's not bad per se, it's just I don't really like it that much. And I don't think the extreme didn't really add too much over normal that was even worth it. I mean, the entire first phase and everything isn't even that different. It's just, it's longer, but not that different. So you have the circly things where one is in, one is out. That is the exact same, except later he will do 2 in a row instead of just 1, which is, they didn't even, I thought maybe this would be cool, is if like he did the out, it has a chance of being the out or the in next, but no, it's just, if it's out, then you go in afterwards. If it's in, you go out afterwards. It's the opposite every single time. And I think that's a little bit boring. And if you watched my Demon Shadownook thing, video of ranking Stormblood Savage, you know that would also clue you in that this is a thing I think about loads of fights that have this problem, so it's not just Serious fault. I like his voice though. I like when he goes, "I will show you true power," or something like that. I don't know, it's funny. He's like, "No, I cannot lose." Whoever voices him, good voice actor, mate. I like you. English voice, by the way. I don't play Japanese voices or Japanese text. I know, I'm weird. I'm like the only person in the world who doesn't play with Japanese voices, apparently. So, oops. Anyway, back to the fight. So you have the ad phase, which the tethers from the frogs, I'm going to call them frogs, I don't know what the fuck they are, aren't random. Well, they kind of are, but the tanks can pick them up. So you get the tanks, pick them up, face them away. Boom, bang, done. Alright. Then you have the fans, you have one that knocks, two that knock back, and one that's a stack. So you just point the knockback ones away, and the stack in the middle. Done. And then you have the heads, which apparently are a problem. If you've done Sephiroth, you will recognise these heads, because they're basically Cocknas and Binas. I might have pronounced that wrong, but that's what they are. You kill them, but you don't kill them too fast, so that the healers still have time to heal, because they explode when they die, and deal damage to the entire party. And the big one does even more damage, but the big one also can cast stone skins, and there's two big ones that come. So one person has to silence the first stone skin, and silence the second one, someone else will have to do. Although I think a bard can silence both, I have heard, but I could be wrong there. I just had someone do that for me, even though I was offering to silence anyway, so whatever. Which I do think is good that they added that utility thing in there. I do like when that is a thing. Like XIVs did it, which was pretty cool. And it looks like in Shadowbringers they're going to start doing that a little bit more, but maybe it's just a quality of life change when they mentioned the interrupt thing. It's hard to tell, we don't know yet, so we'll have to see them. But I will say that's cool. And we've only started talking about the first phase, but everything I just said there basically applies in third phase, so there's not much different. There's that big guy who hits left, right, or right, left. Anyway, he just starts on the left half of the arena, and he'll always hit the opposite each time. And I think that one should also be random. Not just to start, I think random the entire time, on extreme. And I also think, and this is the biggest thing I think of this entire fight, that it should insta-kill you, or at least put a vulnerability stack on you if you do manage to survive it, and I don't mean what it does give you, which is a blunt vulnerability stack. And no monks are going to hit you. The only thing that's going to hit you is another one of those giant fists, which will kill you. So I don't get why you can't just make it that the first one gives you a vulnerability stack or just outright kills you. It doesn't change from normal to hard. They both do the exact same thing. And I don't get it. It's just too forgiving. That's my problem with this trial. It's too forgiving. I mean, there is one extra mechanic though, and that's the towers. Tanks or healers will get targeted with what is it called again? I can't remember. But there will be AoEs on the ground up here, and then the tanks or healers will get a thing where they can't. Yes, that's it. The circle AoE. The circle AoE will be around them, and they can't stand in the towers. All right. Either that or the DPS will get it. It's random, and there we go. That's good. Random, good. Although I think the second one, if you see it, most people don't, is whatever the first one isn't. So if the tanks and healers get targeted with the circles, then in the second one, DPS will get targeted with circles. I don't know if that's true because I rarely ever see that, and if I do see it, I don't pay attention to it, so yeah. Anyway, the ones who don't get targeted with circles have to get in the 4 towers, one at each corner. You usually mark out who's going where at the start of the fight. It's nothing really that major. But then straight after, he does a laser stack line, and that will be doubled, so there will be one, and there will be another. So one on one healer, one on another, and they give a magic vulnerability up. I believe that's what it is, but it's a vulnerability up of some sort. So what you do is you have to split the two away so that the laser hits one group and the second laser hits the other. You know, it's simple stuff. And that's the problem I have with this fight. It's too simple for an extreme. Too simple. And I think that's why I didn't like Lakshmi that much, actually. So, there you go, here's my problem. Now there's one other problem I will give from a melee perspective. And this goes for all melees, tanks, any melees, but mainly Dragoon, because Dragoon's rotation hinges on the fact that it's linear as fuck, alright? So when the boss starts jumping around, because some bards or whatever have to be in fucking Narnia, your rotation starts to drift, and the buffs get all out of whack. It just really does not feel nice. And that's slightly the player's fault, but I also think it's mainly the fight's fault. And it does not feel good. It doesn't like delay it enough for you to like back down and like restart a rotation. It's like refresh Disembowel and Chaos Thrust even though you just did. It's not like that. It's like you'll delay a GCD instead of like 3, and then that will slowly make your buffs fall out the right windows, and it just feels bloody horrible. And I really don't like that, which is probably the main reason why I put it below Susano, which, spoiler alert, that's the next one, Susano. So, you know what, let's just get on with it. I've given you my thoughts of the fight. Watch a video, you might understand, because you're watching a video right now. Let's move on to number 5, the first trial of Stormblood. How will it fare? Let's go! Alright, so Susano for number 5. I already told you about it because number 6 said it, but shh. This fight is pretty fun. It's for a starting Stormblood fight. This is a good fight, right? You could argue Lakshmi was the starting one, but they both came around the same time, who cares? This one is the first one. First one I beat, and honestly, it kind of holds a little bit of a special one for me, because this is the first, like, this is the first time I went on an outing on my own with pugs to do something clear-wise, and it was the first thing in Stormblood, so everyone was kind of eh. Okay, never mind, everyone still is kind of eh. But yeah, so this marked, I would say, the time that I begun to get really into raiding and stuff. I did clear Crater Savage, but it was with Echo, and I did clear all the extreme trials, all the ones that were current, which were just 2, when they were current, which was Sophia and Zervan back in Heaven's Work. But you know, this is the first one where I actually managed to do it, like managed to go in, pugs, beat it. I think we beat it in 3 pulls, so it was really fun. So first off the bat, what I'm going to say about this one is, I commented on Serious voice, but this guy gets the crown for the best voice of any raid, trial, whatever. Look, so many lines you could say for like, the seas part for we alone. Like, he's so jolly, he's so awesome. Like, if this was a compet test of voice acting, I'm sorry mate, Susano, you'd be number 1. I don't even care. You'd be number 1. I just love the voice acting in this fight. It's the only thing I really get excited for whenever I get this in trial, really. Because I don't really like the normal version of this, but we're not talking about normal. Alright, so let's go on about the fight about itself. Well, the first phase is just kind of a teaching. It brings back the dice mechanics from other fights such as Ozma right at the start. Although, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people probably hate me for this, but because it comes up right at the end of the opener on my Dragoon, I actually just eat the first dice and make sure I dodge all the other ones. Honestly, if you do that, it's not a problem. Maybe as a tank it might be, but as a DPS it's not, because you're not getting hit by anything else unless you are getting hit by stuff else, which you shouldn't. But if you are, then don't eat this one, because then you'll die from the next ones. I don't know why I'm giving you advice, because this is way out of date and you can probably eat all of them now, but shh. I do like how this is like the beginning of when phase pushing kind of started to end. Like, you can't skip this first phase. Like, well, you can't skip the middle phase, that's what I'm trying to say. So when XIV came out, it happened before, but XIV really popularised it. People began trying to get parties and forcing parties that would skip mechanics. And by that I mean, XIV had this mechanic right at the start of his second phase called Soar. And you've probably heard the memes, skip Soar or disband, or skip whatever and disband. It all originated from this fight. And if you got on below a certain percent, it would skip that mechanic and you could skip it entirely. It wasn't even that hard a mechanic, but all the pugs would want that be skipped, or you would be disbanding that party or getting kicked or whatever. So this fight here is what I like to say is like, you can't skip middle phase, you can't skip sword phase. You can end first phase early, but you ain't missing anything. You can't skip the middle phase because he force pushes into it at 74%, and I like that because all the fights from here on out start to be like that. You can't skip mechanics. The only way of skipping mechanics is by killing the boss before he does them, which in this case you can't. But that is really good, and Susano, I seem to be giving you compliments all the time today despite you being number 5 out of 8 of them, so whatever. The first phase, aside from that, is pretty boring. It just teaches you the line thing, which is in normal, so I don't know why it needs to teach you that. The siege part for we alone, the clouds mechanic, which is completely different in extreme. You have to kind of make yourself a triangle, you get marked. You gotta make yourself positioned in a triangle from the boss and the clouds. So say the clouds is the bottom left of the triangle, the Susano's the bottom right, you would be the top, the person with the mark. And that would mean that you can, because what will happen is he'll pair that cloud laser with a siege part for we alone. I'm going to call it that because I don't know its fucking name. Alright, it's the one, you'll see it in the video, it's the one with the only the middle lane is safe. So you don't want that cloud going through the entire party. Alright, so that mechanic's pretty cool, and it works completely different from Extreme, and honestly it took me a while to understand that one. The rest of the first phase is nothing to talk about. Tanks busters aren't telegraphed really, he just does them after every few auto attacks, which confuses me sometimes. Second phase is the cool phase with a big sword, which also isn't that much different. The only difference is that both tanks have to take the sword instead of just one. So the first tank will take the first one, the second tank will take the second one. And the orb placement is different. In normal it's cardinals starting east, in extreme it's intercardinals starting northeast and going clockwise for both. So that's a little bit different. Other than that, it's just a DPS check, you go through and that's it. Now this is where it starts getting different, and I love it when fights aren't the same as normal. I just love it, okay? And that's what all extreme fights should be, not the exact same as normal. Alright, so you have this giant red thing in the middle of the arena for the entire fight. Now, from phase 3 onwards, that's there. Which, fun fact, Dragoon Tether, back when it was released, Dragon Sight, used to just barely cross that red line, and any further than that and it would break from your partner. So be glad, current Dragoons, that you didn't have to deal with that shit. Because that would be horrible in Savage. I'm glad they fixed it on week 4 of Stormblood's release, which was when Savage came out. So thank you Square Enix for getting on that one. Alright, so from here on out, all there is all these electric mechanics. He uses all this stuff from phase 1 and everything. The tank buster is telegraphed, and then you have the hopscotch. That's what I like to call this fight the hopscotch, because you're always jumping over and back and over and back. You know, if you get marked with lightning, you're getting to the other side. If you not get marked with lightning, you're staying, and most people stay anyway even though they have the lightning because they don't notice it in time. Yeah. The rocks, okay, this is a bit weird, I don't understand why it's like this, but the person will get targeted by 3 rocks, but you don't even need to look at where it's targeted, where it gets switched to or whatever. You literally just look on your enemy list, target the last one, and that is the rock that the person is trapped inside. It's super easy. I don't know why it's like that, but it is. he will use a opposite of the lightning where you jump across, and it's a lightning where you stay. I can't remember the voice call for it, but I know I like it. I'm trying to remember, but I don't want to lose my train of thought here, so whatever. And basically, whoever gets marked with electrical stay, and everyone else will have to jump to the other side, and then you do that like 3 or 4 times. I believe it's 4 times, or actually it might be 3. Yeah, that might be it. There is one mechanic though I don't like, and it's where he will give you dice. He will do the cease part for We Alone, and then there's a stack. I don't think the Cloud's here, so that's good. Everything's fine, okay, until you're the person with the dice and the cease part for We Alone. Because you want to get knocked back. You'll get knocked back with the cease part for We Alone, with the stack, while also having the dice. So basically, you've got to... I don't really know how to deal with this one, to be honest. I usually take a hit somehow. But the way that the timers are is that if you wait for the dice and you get knocked back to the back, you ain't making it with a stack. And if you try to run with a stack, you're going to get hit by the dice. You know, so I don't like that mechanic. It just feels awkward. I know there's probably a really easy way to deal with it, but I can't figure it out. And aside from that, that is basically the fight until he hits Enrage. So I think it's decent, but I think the other one is pretty basic. I think the other fights afterwards really start to push it, and you'll be really surprised at the fact that I put this below Byakko, but the music might be the only reason why. Yeah, the music for this fight is good, but I only really like the third phase. The first 2 phases aren't that great, and it kind of sounds a bit generic for like Chinesey, Japanesey music. But again, good fight, and compared to Ravana, well, I can't say it on launch, but I'm going to say I think this one was funner than Ravana. Just, I like him a bit more. He's definitely better voice acted. Well, actually, Ravana's voice is really good as well, but this guy I can actually understand. Anyway, that's going to be it for this rank. Next rank, we're moving up, and my list here shows that I put one fight ahead of another, which I actually think I might not like, so I'm going to change it. Not that you know. So why am I mentioning it? Because I like cats. Bye. Byakko. Aye. This fight. This guy, man, visually he blew my expectations away, because when he was first revealed I thought he would be one of the most boring trials ever. Because all they did was show a fucking tiger, and that didn't look very cool. And I hadn't played Final Fantasy XI, so I have nothing to do with Byakko, and the only thing I've played that really has the 4 lords to do with it would be Type 0, and that's just the name of the countries. Other than that, I didn't really have much expectations for this fight. It kind of looked pretty shit, to be honest, when they first unveiled it, and that was all they showed was a picture. But when they actually showed the trailer, this fight was definitely a little bit excitable for me. Although I obviously took Savage first, but I was still excited for this one. So this fight is, well, visually it's really awesome, but there's this kind of easy-ish. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this is another case of not changing much up for normal mode, but a little, probably less so than the others. It's still a little bit challenging, but not too much challenging. I think it's definitely easier than Susanoo, and it's definitely harder than Suryu. I don't know about Lakshmi. Whatever. Who cares about difficulty? Me. Nobody else does. Alright. So, the problem with this fight is that the second phase takes way too fucking long. And I know that we've not even started talking about the fight, but I'm just going to mention it here so I don't have to talk about it later. The second phase is fun the first time, but any other time you do it is really boring. And it's the one part. Actually, this is an even worse sin than anything. The second phase, when you're flying in the sky, is easier in extreme than it is in normal, because the patterns in normal are not as predictable as the patterns in extreme. In extreme, you have either one pattern, or the balls will follow where the players are, to basically appear where the players were for a bit, and so you could just move away from where you just were and dodge them. I don't know if anybody notices that because they just dodge, but I've noticed it because I farmed the fucking shit out of it like 94 times to get the dog, which I haven't been mentioning the dogs for all the fights because I kind of forgot, but they're all cool. There you go, they're all cool, that's all that matters. Every single one of them, cool, except Lakshmi's meh. And I don't have the Rathalos mount because I don't like that trial much. I'll get it eventually. I don't have it, can't talk about it. Looks cool when I see other people have it, I don't have it. So the actual fight itself, well, Byakko looks fucking awesome. He looks like he's a big naked tiger man. Do I need to say anything else? No, I don't. There you go, he looks awesome. He's a big naked tiger man with a tiger arm. He's awesome. His mechanics they're okay. He kind of picks tanks up and puts them in the stack, but nowadays you don't even have to worry about that. You could just heavy and cooldown, or even light cooldown nowadays, and you could solo stack it. It's not even a problem. You still have to tank swap for it though. He hits pretty hard with some raid wights though, so healing it is a little bit, because I've healed it, tanked it and DPS'd it. It's the only trial I've done all three. It's the only thing I remember doing all three things on. And I'm a shit healer. I'm more like a DPS healer than I am an actual healer. So yeah. So it's a little bit tough for healing, but not too bad. I don't like the beginning of third phase. Or actually, I don't know if you could call it beginning, but whatever. Where he jumps away and the three balls are dropped and they're expanding. He could jump like in a fucking expanding AoE and do his laser. I was like, yeah, thanks, I like not hitting the boss because of RNG. I'm glad I don't actually care that much about parses. Awkward silence because that's not true. But yeah, I actually don't have much to say about this fight because I don't want to get too much in detail with the mechanics, otherwise I'll be going off here for way too bloody long. Which, as evident, the Susanoo explanation, I'm leaving that in. Susanoo oats because I like porridge. What the hell am I going on about? Yeah, there we go, I've talked enough about Byakko. He's cool. Oh, his ultimate transition is pretty cool though. It's like it's like a bomb explosion. It's like, whoa, man, calm the heck down, mate. Yeah, he is pretty cool. And he had the first dog that I actually really liked because I thought it was unique that it was a dog and it had tiger stripes. Yeah, tiger stripes. So aside from second phase, everything else I actually kind of like, even if it's really easy. And it was the first time outside of Ultimate Bahamut that Exaflares made an appearance, although a lot of people don't realise that the lightning is Exaflares just in a different pattern, which will not be seen again until Midgardsormr. And no, emptiness doesn't count, it doesn't work exactly like in a straight line, so whatever. But if you want to count it, that was the first Exaflare. Alright, there you go. So yeah, fight Byakko or don't, I don't care. He's number 5 or 4. I don't know, I've lost track, I'm sure someone will care. But all that matters is he's in front of the rest. Alright, the next one's coming up though, like the top 3, okay that means this is number 4, are all really good. I had a hard time picking between number 1 and 2. Number 3 was the one I mixed up with this, but I'm not really sure which one I like more, but I've already set it in stone, so we will see. I think there's only one reason number 1 stands above all the others, and it's actually the mount. So yeah, actually there's another reason, but we'll get to it when we get there. For now, we're moving on to number 3. Let's go! And I hope you don't have latency for this one. Alright, Suzaku, the bird meme extraordinaire, because apparently birds love having sex with humans. Yay! Okay, so this fight is cool. I don't like it on my latency, but if I try to ignore that, it's really good. It's one of those songs which has a singing in it at the end, but I don't know what it is, but I like it. Maybe it's mostly the start I like, but yes, it's pretty good. So the first phase is not very interesting. All the rest is it's basically normal, except you don't stack the birds in the middle. You have to kill all the ones at the side, all the feathers at the north. Well, it could be anywhere, but basically it's either north or northeast, south or southwest. You get the point, you know, it's the cardinal and then the one clockwise of it into cardinal, whichever one is small. And you'll bring the bird to there, kill it there, done. 4 DPS will get it, so there you go. It's really nothing important, and after that it's phase 2. And phase 2 is the dancey dance, which if you've done normal is pretty much the same, just longer and faster and really bad on latency, because you have to like kind of predict which one's going to come next, which means sometimes I get all of the numbers, but most of the time I don't. And some people say you can steal other people's numbers, and my brain cannot figure out how that's even possible, because all the balls go off at the same time. So how can you be in your own one and steal someone else's? Because you have to be in the middle of the arrow. I've tested it, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I've done something wrong, but if somebody knows, please tell me how you can steal someone else's arrow. I don't want to steal their arrow, I'm just really curious because I've never done it before, and I've heard it so much. I just can't comprehend how it's possible. And you know me, well, you don't know me, but if you do know me, I love fights where you get a damage buff. There's the reason why I really love Construct 7, and it ain't because he's really that fun. It's mostly because you get a damage buff, right? And I love damage buffs because you get extra damage from damage buffs because they buff your damage. You get what I mean? You get what I mean. Cool. Third phase, everybody knows it. The donut. So, I hate it as a red mage, which I've only done once, because most of the time you fall off if you do it wrong, and I'm not really an expert red mage by any means, so don't take it to be that, oh, I'm such a good red mage but I fall off, which means the fight is bad designed for them. No, I'm sure master red mages can really kick ass with that. But it's pretty cool. It's funny when people get sucked in the middle and die, or just stand there and die. But other than that, it's alright. I think I've done this fight more times on a tank than I have with Dragoon, which is odd, but I have. And when you're tanking it, you have to learn the trick for the Simon Says of dodging between instead of running around. So basically, Simon Says, you'll see that there's 4 runes on the floor. And trust me, like, don't even try to get me to name the colours, because I have no fucking clue. I tried calling it out for someone, and every time I call it out, she says I got the wrong fucking colour, and I'm like, but that's the colour. Apparently it's not white, blue, black and yellow. Apparently it's pink, purple, black and green or something. Maybe she's colourblind, maybe I'm not. I don't know. I am colourblind because Neo XIV footage showed that. But yeah, so I can understand that because they all look different for me, but me saying the names ain't gonna help. So I'm just gonna say there's 4 different runes, and you have to look at the side of the arena and you'll see that the runes explode in a certain pattern, and the patterns are always either actually the first one is always, every single time, the first one is one of 2, and I can't remember what it is because I've not done it in ages, but the colours are always in the exact same order. It's either it will do the merry-go-round where it starts on 1 and goes round in an order twice, or it will do the first 4 and then it'll reverse. Alright, so for the first Simon Says, if it does the merry-go-round, it will always start from, I believe, yellow and go clockwise if you're a tank facing south, I suppose. But yeah, it will always go clockwise. It will always start on yellow, and the reverse will always start on the same one as well, which I can't remember what it is. So it's really easy to predict the first one. And to do the dodgy side thing, what I said for the tank, you're supposed to go from one rune to the one directly next to it. Once the one next to it explodes, but you have to kind of predict it, so it's really kind of annoying on latency, and I've mastered it a little bit. I say master, but master would assume you never failed. But I've gotten quite good at it, or at least I did when I actually ran the bloody trial. But it's kind of tough to do on latency, and probably tough to do without latency, but the latency doesn't help. I live in Scotland, I play on any servers, you could already imagine it. No VPN. Well, sometimes use a VPN, but not for that fight, I've never done. Anyway, it's really fun, I like the Simon Says mechanic, and once you do all of them, it's really good. There's not else much to say about the fight. There's the arrow mechanic, which is pretty cool. Not the one from phase 2, it's one where you basically get forced into a direction, depending on your arrow. I don't really need to explain the fights too much, I just need to explain why I like them. Because this is not a guide. You want to go watch Mr. Happy, Xeno, Miztech, whoever you like for guides for them, because they're 100 times better than I'll ever be for that. Anyway, I think I've explained why I like this fight pretty well. Yes, I think I have. This fight is pretty damn good, and I liked it way more than I expected to. The only problem is I'll never be able to call it out because colours are my worst bloody enemy. Alright guys, we've got 2 more to go. You can already guess which 2 they are. The problem is, which one will be better than the other? Well, we're about to see. Alright guys, see you then. That is right. Number 2 is Shinryu. That rhymed. I like that actually. I don't want to re-record this one now. Let's go. Alright. So number 2 is Shinryu, as I just said. And this fight is, oh my god, I have some PTSD over this fight, let me tell you, man. Pug Traumatic Stress Disorder. Doesn't make any sense with the acronym that I made up, which I didn't make up, someone else probably did, but whatever. But I definitely have that with this fight, but that doesn't stop me from really liking it, and, well, most of it, and we'll get into that later. So, the music is cool, the arena is cool, there you go, there's no voice acting, can't comment on that, and I never did for the last fight, or the last 2 fights, but whatever. So, this fight, most of this fight comes from the first phase, and that goes all the way down to like 40%. I think it's a little bit lower actually, but I'll be lenient and say 40%. So that's a giant chunk of one phase, you know, to deal with. So that's where most of this fight comes from, and I think it's alright. I think the first phase is where this fight is strongest, and I have to compare this with Thordan. I didn't do it when it was on launch, but I have to compare it, and I think Thordan was actually the opposite. I think from what I've seen, Thordan seems to go out on a bang instead of starting with a bang. And this one seems to start with a bang instead of going out with one. Not to say the end isn't bad, because the end is actually pretty cool and different. It's not a simple burn the boss, you have to do something a little bit different, and I think that's cool. But you know what, I'm gonna go straight to the end just so I can get this out of the way, because it really pissed me off. One time, when I was trying to clear this fight, I got right to the end, and you have to go on his back and destroy his 2 wings. So what most teams do is they use caster LB to hit the 2 wings. So I finally got there on Pugs, which took so fucking long because apparently this fight is that bloody hard. It's definitely the hardest in Stormblood, I'll give it that. Alright, it took so bloody long, lots of pain, lots of suffering, lots of salt. Songs of salt and suffering. Finally get to the end, and what does the bloody caster do? The LB the bottom instead of the top, and then we wipe because we didn't have the DPS to destroy the wings. I almost cried in death. Okay, no I didn't, I'm overreacting with that last part, but oh my god, that was so bloody annoying. So I actually don't like the end because of that. It's only ever happened once. Actually, in this clear video, I'm playing Summoner, and this is I had to record this like recently, so I'm really bad at Summoner. I just didn't want to have double jobs. I didn't want to force people to switch, and I'm really bad at it. So excuse the bad gameplay, which that goes for every one of these videos because I've definitely improved. I don't want to sound arrogant, but I've definitely improved since every single one of these videos, even maybe Siryu, which is the most recent. Anyway, I'm really bad. I didn't even have limit break on my hotbar, but you know, nowadays it doesn't even matter that much. This was a clear party back when it was on release, so that's different. And they main caster most likely, probably, I don't know, whatever. So, this fight, first phase. So you have this new mechanic right off the bat called Shinryu's Heart. You have to make sure you destroy Shinryu's Heart before he casts any of his ultimate moves, which I believe are Earthen Fury, which he starts off with, Diamond Dust, Hellfire, and Judgment Bolt. I believe those are the 4 mechanics you have to kill each heart before he casts. I could be wrong, but most of the time you just kill the heart when it appears. And you get extra damage on him, just like the tail, which is the same in normal mode. Kill the tail for extra damage, except this time 3 different people get targeted with it. 1 tank, 1 healer, 1 DPS. It's random of which ones of those it is, but it's always one of those in the same order. So the first one's healer, second one's DPS, third one is tank. If you even see the third one, nowadays you could probably skip it, but I've never done it yet, so... So, assuming you place it alright, the tail will make sure that all the platforms don't crack and destroy when too early for extra mechanics that you have to deal with, such as the tether and the diamond dust for the healers, and the earthen breath, I forgot what it's called, it's something breath, where you have one person go left, one person go right, spread that apart. Can't do that if there's no left or right to go, you know, so gotta watch out about that. And where you place the tail is a DPS and a tank. Actually, I believe tank is the same, so it might just be DPS. Where you place the tail as a DPS is completely dependent on the start, in which the first blast he uses will crack certain platforms, so it's not always the same, but I think it's either one of 2 places you place it, so it's not that different. Basically, first phase is just normal, but souped up a bit, which is fine in this case because the ice spikes actually come at really annoying times, and I love it. They don't come when nothing's going on, no, they come when you've got stack in the puddles, they come when fucking Ack Rise and Ack Morns are going off at the same time, and I believe this is the first fight which actually introduced Ack Rise, but I could be wrong there. And Ack Rise are cool. I think the one with the icicles and Ack Rises, there's 2 Ack Rises, so that's not very nice. That gets a bit annoying. Yeah, that's about it. Until you go into second phase, in which, for an ad phase, this ad phase hits pretty damn hard. You've got to run to the edge of this big platform. Shinryu will punt you to the other side, and then you got to run to the edge of the next platform. And the proximity AoEs will be there. And those proximity AoEs actually hit pretty hard on release, so I will say that's pretty good. Most of the time ad phases are boring and useless, but this one actually poses a challenge. Ad phase other than that though is pretty much what you would expect, it's just kill ads. You get these black AoEs which make the third proximity AoEs appear, so that's pretty cool. You gotta spread them across the edge and it's random who gets them. Protostar Realization, which is the ultimate, is pretty cool, and then his tail will knock you back and you have to run up his tail and get to his arena, and that's pretty cool, that part. I've said it's pretty cool quite a few times, but yeah. I don't know where his lasers come from, but I assume it was from his wings when you're running on the tail, but I don't know anybody who's got hit by those, apart from some people have got hit by them. And then we get to third phase, which is the final battle against Shinryu, which is also what the first phase was, so it's not really whatever. Most of this phase is just tank and spank, or more like hit as a DPS. You just do nothing, you're just hitting. You do have to spread a bit and break chains, and the ice mechanic is random. I think the things that you can get, I can't remember because it's been a really long time since I've ever had to see them, but one of them is you get iced and then Hellfire comes up. So what you're supposed to do is stack together and let yourself be frozen so that the Hellfire can cleanse it and not kill you. The other one, I believe, is something to do with... Oh, yeah. You're supposed to dodge to not get frozen, but make sure you're spread because the lightning will also come down straight after. So you got to deal with those, and then straight after you have to either dodge a cone coming from the front of them, or run underneath them where there'll be doom, but you could dodge the move if you're in that puddle that comes out straight after. So you gotta make sure you're in it, but not too long. It's pretty alright, but Nothing too interesting. I think first phase is definitely where it goes. And I've told you about the wings. You just go on these wings at 24%, destroys 2 wings, and then jump off him and finish him off. He doesn't do any attacks. That's all you gotta do. And there is one mechanic I didn't mention, and it's these dragoon heads. I like to call them dragoon heads, but they're just dragons. Dragon heads. And this is the first time I think this has actually been a thing. You actually have to heal the dragon heads so that they go away instead of DPSing them. So I don't know why that's just there. It's never in anything else in this game. This is like one of the only times that's a thing that I've ever seen. And now that I just think about it, that's actually really cool. There's a reason this is number 2 then, and then there you go, there's your reason. That dragoon head thing, dragon head, is a really cool mechanic, and more fights should have things like that. If there's one thing Stormblood did, I do think that some of the mechanics they added in all the fights, Savage, Extreme, whatever, there were mechanics that definitely experimented and pushed and evolved Raiden as a whole, and I hope that they can start to put more of these in the game and start experimenting a bit more and making things a bit more interesting, more than just dodge AoEs, you know. Things like that dragon head mechanic. Square Enix, always remember the dragon head. Okay guys, we got one more, and I'm sure every single one of you know exactly which fight this is, because we've all suffered the pain of it. We must go to it. I'll see you there. Number 1 on my ranking is...
It's like all my name days have come at once!
Nah, I'm joking. It's, of course, number 1, the real one, is... Tsukuyomi. Of course, if process of elimination would obviously have yielded this answer. A lot of people seem to not like this fight, but I seem to enjoy it. But the point 3 trials seem to really be the best, although we've only had 2 to really deal with. I don't really count 2.3. What trial even was that? Leviathan? Leviathan was shit. Actually, that was 2.2, I think. I don't know. Who cares? Anyway, Nidhogg and Tsukuyomi are 2 of my favourite fights in this entire game, so I really like it. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it's not even that interesting. It's actually kind of boring. I just really like the music, and I like how it makes a story into a fight, which barely any fight ever does, so I really like that this does it. I'm not even going to talk much about it. I know it's number 1, but I don't need to. We've all done Tsukuyomi normal. We all know how it is. It's a great fight. I like how at the start there's the gun and the fan thing. I don't even know what you call that. Yeah, I think it is a fan. The cleave that chooses 3 different people. That's pretty fun. But the entire first and second phases, whatever. It's the third and fourth phase that even matter. And the moon mechanic, I think, is pretty cool. How you have to dodge between the sides, and if you stay on one side too long, you'll get a doom and a bleed. And then on extreme, it turns into a 3/4 moon and a quarter moon, and that's pretty cool. And you have to make sure you position it right, in which most people never did, and they always got a doom, and they always like, oh, how I got a doom? I was standing on the right side. It's like, no mate, you're supposed to stand on the small side and then the big side, not the big side the entire time. Hey, isn't that how it works? No, other way around. You're supposed to stand on the big side and then go to the small side, because you want to make sure that you get one tick, which I will admit the server ticks for it were fucking dumb, but that's everything with server ticks. Machinist. So yeah, that's pretty good. You have to do it twice, but actually, even back when it wasn't released, because it's a 4.3 trial, you have raid gear, you could actually skip the second one of that, which is basically the exact same as the first one. So there isn't even anything to say there. And I like the fan mechanics where the fan comes down, and even if it's just Shinryu, Shiva repeated, and A11/A11S if you've ever done those fights. And the Akmorn, Lunacy stack is pretty cool as well. even though it's just an Ackmorn, as I just said. But there's not much to it. Her dog, though, is by far the best dog out of every single dog. And probably one of the best primal mounts. No, the best primal mount out of all the primal mounts, I think. I don't even know if it's purple or blue, but I really like the colour what it is, so that's what colour it is. And I really like it. The music is amazing. All three phases have amazing music, and they didn't resort to using a singing song, which I know some people didn't like, but you know me. Well, I worded that wrong. I meant the singing song. They didn't use Revolutions exactly for phase 1. They used a kind of rendition of it, but it wasn't the exact Revolutions. So, yeah, I think that was pretty good. I know a lot of people were disappointed for that, but I don't know. I don't think Revolutions doesn't feel like you could ever fit that into a fight, unlike the other two. I could be wrong, just because it never happened, but it doesn't feel like it would ever fit into a fight. Now, what else is there to talk about this fight? Apart from the aesthetic. The aesthetic is really good. Ah, there we go, this is one. So, this fight has one secret in it, which isn't really a secret because it's pretty damn obvious, but Tsukuyomi has bunny ears, and what got revealed like 2 patches later? Vieira. This was definitely a hint to Vieira. I mean, a lot of us already knew that as soon as we saw the bunny ears on this that they were testing Vieira models or something, and we were right. We didn't even need Blue Fever to tell us this one. I'm not going to get into the leaks, but yeah. I don't think I want to make an opinion on leaks right now, because let me tell you, that would be a video all on its own, because I get really opinionated about leaks. Spoiler alert, I don't like them. Anyway, the fight. Tsukuyomi's design is alright, pretty cool. She has bunny ears for absolutely zero reason other than to tease Vieira, because I don't know the actual lore in real life behind this Tsukuyomi in Japanese or whatever culture it is. Sorry, I'm not meaning to offend anyone, I just don't really know if she has bunny ears there, but I don't believe she does. I could be wrong. And that's assuming that Tsukuyomi is even a she. It could be a he, because we all know Shiva's a he, when in the game he's a she. And yeah, whatever. Could be a she, could be a he. I'm not trying to offend anyone. The point is that the fight is good. The bunny ears are random, but they teased Vieira, and I have nothing against Vieira. That's alright. Mechanic wise, I've already explained, there isn't much to it, but I just really like it, and I love the music. There's a reason why on the best album, and that doesn't mean it's my favourite album, I mean the album's literally called Final Fantasy 14 The Best. Number 1 is Tsukuyomi's theme. So there's gotta be a reason why that's there. It's because it's awesome. But then again, people voted for Papaya and Good King Monomog, so what do I know? Anyway, that's going to be a wrap for this video. Make sure you comment your opinion down below, and maybe like or dislike if you hate my voice. I mean, hate my ranking, or the video, or like it. I don't know. If you wish to follow me in other places, the links will be down below, and that will include Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. Even though I don't actually post much on Instagram, still there. Hope you drop by. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching, and just remember, all my name days are coming once.